Welcome back. We are gonna finish this painting on the segment, or at least I hope so. I am continue adding some little details. Making sure that I'm creating the illusion of rocks. And this ending part, I don't really need to be talking that much because I'm not really creating anything new. All my structures are on the paper. I'm just adding detail and shadows and small changes. My vegetation right here is very light. It dried lighter, even lighter than I planned. And I'm just adding a little bit of red. Sorry, a little bit of green. And what I need to do now is to make sure I have my shadows. In the photograph, there were no shadows because the light was soft. I could see that it's coming from my left side. So I'm gonna add the shadows coming this way. And I'm gonna make a mixture of burnt umber, cobalt violet, and a tiny bit of French ultramarine blue. And I'm gonna be a little bold. If you think you need, you can use a pencil and make sure that your shadows go where you want. And here I go. I'm gonna start here, and oops, it's too light. I can add a little more blue. If you have visited my website, you can see that shadows are really important to me. I think it's important to all painters, but for me in particular, because I don't have three-dimensional vision, so I really depend on putting the shadows more or less in the right places so I can have a better perspective of what I'm seeing. Okay, make sure that I have shadows for those guys here. Again, when you're doing shadows for vegetation, remember that they are not solid objects. Softening a little bit this edge. Making sure all my shadow areas are receiving some attention. I want to go a little darker here. Again, I'm just dropping paint. I'm making sure I have enough contrast between the area where the sunlight is hitting and the area that is on the shade. All right, and I'm doing the same thing on this massive structure right here. I don't want to overdo it because I don't want this shape to compete with this structure. Most of the time you should you should be careful not to make your painting compete against itself. All right, I think this is good enough. Let's add a little bit of movement here. In this case, movement can be vegetation, not necessarily always true. Greener. All about the drama. All about the drama we can create. I just dropped white. Sorry, I just dropped clean water. And I'm just having a little bit of fun here. Dropping paint randomly in places I think they need a little punch and a little contrast. And I have a last minute idea for this little path here, which is to put some burnt umber right here. And I'm just putting very, very little. finally, we need to add a few details on the sky. Make sure my gloves are clean. I'm just getting a paper towel here. And again, with my oval wash, I am gonna add a little bit of blue, French Ultramarine blue and Cobalt Blue. And again, I'm trying to create the illusions of movement in the sky. And I'm using a dry brush. It's almost like a my brush is really dry. And I'm adding paint as I go along. And here I can soften the edges a little bit. I don't want to do a solid sky, tend to be boring. Now I'm just applying water with my oval wash brush. I do want hard edges, I just don't want them to compete with my vegetation on the ground. So this is more or less, we can call this a unifying wash, just to integrate the sky. I'm just moving the paint slowly. And I decided on the fly here to add some blue near the horizon line. I have a little hair here, probably from the brush. Don't touch if you cannot lift, oh here, I lift with the brush. If you cannot lift with the brush and there is a hair or something fuzzy on your painting, just leave it there. When it dries, you remove without disturbing your painting. And here, very importantly, maybe we want to remove a bit of this blue. The only thing that you should be aware about blues in general is that they're very staining. So if you go too dark too fast, it's a done deal. And I'm gonna put a little bit of blue. Remember, we have this window here. That is part of the structure, so you don't want to lose it. And you can finish here or you can add more colors. What I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna add a little bit of lavender here. I prefer my sky not to be so blue. And lavender is such a nice quiet color. And I'm just adding pure lavender in this corner. I'm trying to preserve this white area that I want you and the viewer to believe it's a cloud. And a little bit here. All right, and I think this is the time where you sign and leave it dry. Yeah. All right, guys, I suggest you to place it on a wall or some place that you can look at it for a couple of weeks, and you can evaluate what you would do differently if you had to paint it again. Is always very positive if you can develop a positive self-criticism. What I mean is, instead of looking, oh, I hate this, I completely hate this. No, you look at your painting, whatever your result is, and you analyze, oh, I could have done this differently, I could have done this part differently, and you can have a new perspective. How would you have done the same landscape with a different sky or with a different light? And that's how you improve as a painter, is to be able to look at your art and identify what you like it and what you don't. For instance, right now I'm looking here, I don't like this curvature. So I can always come back and do it slightly different when it's dry. And maybe if I wait like a week, I will look and think it's fine. So it's all depends on what you're looking and how you're looking. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed that and you have tried to paint along. I see you soon.